The legendary Marilyn Maye. Welcome to Cultural Attaché.
In her own mind. I know it's not too early in the game, so I will ask you just the same. What are you doing New Year's Eve? There.
Well, I think I know what you'll be doing New Year's Eve. You have two performances at Birdland in New York. And for those who already have New Year's Eve plans, they can see you on December 27th, 28th, and 29th, as well at Birdland. Two shows each night. I don't know how you do it.
Just shoot me. No, I love doing it. We just get warmed up.
That's great. Well, let me ask you, you had appearances on Steve Allen's show, and then those who bought records back in 1965 got to meet the marvelous Marilyn Maye with your first album. And the first song on that album is Get Me to the Church on Time.
Oh, wow.
That's how you
You did
open.
you did do your homework. I don't know what the first song is. Get me to the church. I'm getting married. I'm getting wed. Yeah. Oh.
Now, what do you think your reaction would be if you went back and listened to that recording today?
Well, first of all, they bring in the recordings these days. They bring in those old LPs, and they are timeless because I had a who's who in all the big, it was a big full orchestra, big bands, and they were who's who musicians. They were fabulous, and Peter Matz and Don Costa, wonderful charts. So I'm still very proud of them. And the nice thing is that they bring in, well, and I say, where did you get this? And they say on eBay. And the other night, somebody brought in Meet Marvelous Marilyn Maye, which is the first album with Get Me to the Church on Time and Misty and various things on various songs on that album. And I said, well, where did you get it? Well, online. They get it online these days, and people are selling them. And I said, what did you pay for it? And one man said $80. And I said, wow, that's unbelievable. So then I don't know if it was the same night or the next night, but I believe it was the same night. So somebody else brought in The Lamp is Low. The third album is called The Lamp is Low. We have seven albums, but so they brought in The Lamp is Low, and I said, oh my gosh, where'd you get this one? On eBay. What'd you pay for it? $8. So I said, I don't think you should talk to that guy up there, the $80 man.
Well, the interesting thing is not neither of those albums would have sold for that much money back when they were released either.
No, either way.
Right.
Not
So,
as cheap as $8 and not as expensive as 80.
right, exactly. Um, but when you hear some of those tracks, do you recognize that woman, that young woman from 60 years ago?
Well, first of all, I'm much higher in those days and younger, obviously, and I think I sound younger. Um, yes, the keys are lower, and I say proudly. I always tell people with people that are still singing, they think it's an ego. I guess it's an ego thing that people still say, "Oh no, I'm singing it in the same key." Well, I always want to say to them, "Well, you can't." When you reach a certain age, it's okay to lower the keys, and your voice gets more mature, and you sound barely better in a lower key. But some of my people that I coach every now and then, they'll say, "Oh no, I sing it in the same key," but you're not sounding great in that same high key. So my keys have all been lowered, and I'm proud of it.
And aren't we glad that there are many keys?
That's right. That's right. It's no accomplishment to sing it. The accomplishment is to sing it well and in the right key.
Of course. Now, at this point in your career, you've sung thousands of songs, thousands of times. How do you how do you approach each performance so that that performance is fresh for you?
Oh, what a great question. As if it's the first time I ever sang it. I always think that you have to, every time you do the lyric, you think the lyric. You don't think about I'm going shopping tomorrow or what I'm going to do tonight or who's in the audience. Your mind should be, at least with me, my mind is always on what I'm saying on the lyric. And and new things happen, melodically or not lyrically, but melodically. Sometimes you find another note that you sing improvisationally, and I believe that the lyric. I always tell people I sing to the audience, not for them. I don't close my eyes and sing, because that would be me singing for myself. So I look at my audience because I'm so glad they're there. Thank you. I'm grateful that they show up and buy a ticket and come to play with me for an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm very honored that they're there. So they're the stars, they're the people that are the most important in this performance. And it's my job to help them have a good time.
Well, you said you approach each song singing it like it's the first time, but doesn't life experience inform, how you approach a song today
Right,
versus how you
right.
approached it 20 years ago or 40 years ago?
Sure, the meaning can change. The meaning can change. So if you think the lyric, then either facially, vocally, sometimes you add some notes here and there, because after all, we do sing some jazz, and but not, I don't tamper with it much. It's true to the melody, and certainly true to the lyrics. Although I'm known to write an intro or an ending or some special lyrics here and there, and that's entertainment.
Yes, it is. Now you've said for quite some time that lyrics are what drive a song for you. Are there any particular lyricists whose work you think stands head and shoulders above others?
Well, of course, we love Sondheim. We all love Sondheim. My very favorite for these many years is Johnny Mercer. I love Johnny Mercer. I think he was the best, and there's so many. I don't choose a song that unless the lyric is says something and has a message or a varied lyric. So that it's always fresh with me. I try to keep it fresh all the time.
Now, I understand that you put your set list together very last minute or fairly close to showtime anyway.
Not really, not
Really?
really.
Is that
No.
is that a misnomer that's been out there about you?
That is a misnomer. Yeah. No, I give it thought. And by this time, I've put together a lot of set lists. Thank God, there have been a lot of sets in my life, and I've lived long enough that I have done a lot of sets. So uh, there is a pattern. Yes, there is a pattern and a belief in my set list, and it's not put together just haphazardly or because I like that song, I'll open with it. It has to say something. It has to be something that they hear for the first time. For the first three numbers at least, it's about the audience. The song is you. I hear music when I look at you. That's the audience. And
It's
and
interesting as you're talking about set list, I'm suddenly flashing on a memory that I had at the Cafe Carlisle, where I saw Elaine Stritch do for her second song, Rose's Turn.
well, she was good and wonderful and had a great career. So whatever worked for her.
Could you imagine doing Rose's Turn as a second song?
Not for me, but I guess it was okay for her.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine anyone doing that. I think everybody's jaw was on the floor when she did that.
Well, I just think that you gotta because the lyric is so important, and I don't know, maybe they think rhythmically, I don't, it's got to be happy and up tune. The ballads are down in the middle of the show, and the heartbreakers are very late in the show. We hope we've made everybody happy, and then we do the heartbreakers. One of my most requested songs is "Guess Who I Saw Today," and we always follow that with 50%. So it's the wife and she saw the husband, and then 50% is the woman that the husband was sitting with, and that's the other woman. So those sad stories can't come too early in the act, I don't think. I think if it's a sad story, it better be way down in the act so that they get happy in the beginning.
Do you have any first memory or early memories of when you were first captivated by a song and any sense of what that song might have been?
No, because I've been singing since I was 7 years old, honey.
I
And
know.
I I don't remember. Um, it's just what it says at the moment. There's so many fabulous songs. I did a whole show of Mercer, of Johnny Mercer, and it was so varied with him. There was so many different stories with him, and some really cute and really fun, and some heartbreakers, and I love so many composers for so many reasons.
Now, a lot has been made this year of Taylor Swift and the Swifties and all the concerts that she's sold out. But, you're not running a distant second to her, but you are still selling out on a regular basis, all your
Smaller
shows.
crowds. The
Smaller
clubs don't hold.
crowds, smaller
The
crowds.
clubs don't hold thousands.
No, they don't. But,
I should learn a Taylor Swift song, although I don't think I've ever heard one. But
but I mean, the level of attendance that you have at your shows, I think is remarkable because we don't
thank you.
think we don't think of jazz shows and cabaret shows as having this kind of following, but you do. Does it?
I'm so grateful to that. I appreciate that, and that's why I say the audience is the star because they do come, and I'm so grateful, and you build a relationship with them. As time goes on, there are so many people in the audience that I know have been there loyally many, many, many times, and they'll say, "I'm so glad you did," and they'll mention some song that they've heard I don't know how many times, but it doesn't seem to upset them if we repeat various songs because that's what they came to hear, the songs they like.
But what do you think the reason is this relationship has developed and remains as strong as it is? Because it can't just be the audience. There has to be the Marilyn Maye component of this.
Well, I do meet and greet afterward. And I think we get acquainted that way. And I think we get acquainted during the act. I there again, it's like I'm talking to you. I'm not talking at you. I'm not closing my eyes and singing and talking for myself. I've got my eyes open and I'm connecting with you, though you're in California and I'm in New York City. But I love it that we can communicate and I appreciate that you're there just like I appreciate every seat that's occupied with people that want to hear my music.
And I'm sure you're very happy when the piano bench is occupied by Billy Stretch.
Well,
Uh,
I love Billy. Billy's been with me since he doesn't work so much with me anymore. He was 17 when he joined me. When I got to New York, I found Ted Firth, and Ted is brilliant with me, but so is Ted Rosenthal, and so are other pianists. Ted Firth, 20 years ago, wasn't as busy as he is now, and sometimes I didn't get my string of dates with him early enough, so he's already booked by somebody else. But they're the whoever it is that's sitting on that piano bench is the most important man in my life at all times.
well, at least for those 75 minutes or so.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
the reason I brought up Billy is in an interview he called you his Auntie Mame. Um,
Well, he's known me like I say, since he was a little boy. I was singing in Houston, Texas, and he lived in Sugarland, Texas. And he was 17. I was singing in a club, and somehow he must have had a fake ID or something because he got into the club. And it was a club where I would work one show, and then I'd kind of mix with all the audience, and they would stay for two shows. And during that intermission time between the first and second show, he would kind of find me and ask me, he said, I noticed that you modulated down. Now he's 17 years old, that you modulated down. Everybody else changes keys and they modulate up. And so what makes you do that? And I said, what a great question. And I'll talk to you later because I'm talking to customers. But he was so aware of the arrangements and the things that I did vocally, and so he was a bright young man.
Well, you've recorded some of the songs from Mame. Do you think you share any qualities with her as a character?
With Mame?
Yes.
Well, I don't, was she rich?
She married well.
Okay, I didn't. But in other ways, yes, I think she was very positive thinking, and you better be if you want to be in this business. And I don't know anything else but this business in my life, and that's how I make my living. And it's very important to me to do what I do and do it well. And there again, to have the people out there listening to it.
If you could go into a studio today and record a new album, what would you want it to be?
Oh, that's such a good question, and I have no idea. I don't really know. I'll think about that one. I'll talk to you later.
At least I'm in good company because you told Billy Stritch the same thing. Um, Michael Feinstein said in a story about you in the New York Times that you are, quote, a life force that awakens something in other people. You know,
What a lovely statement, and I love Michael a lot.
yeah. Are there, who are the life forces or what are the life forces that awaken something in you?
Just people that are that not ambitious, people that are energetic, that really love, if they're in this business, that they love what they do and convey it to an audience. People that know they've got to sing it in the right key, and and uh, and just positive thinkers. I'm so blessed in that I have a lot of people that are so very good to me and helpful to me, and aware of what my business is. So I'm really grateful to. That's part of what will be fun New Year's Eve. Those kinds of feelings that I'm blessed. I'm really blessed.
I think you also have an endless curiosity. I don't think you can do what you do if you don't have that hunger to learn more and to experience more.
Always. I love to travel. I love people. We were just in Palm Springs at the Purple Room for 5 nights. And I'm there twice a year. And the joy is always meeting new people after the show. We went up to Catalina's and there was a big audience there. And I did meet and greet for literally about an hour and 20 minutes and with people standing in line to tell me who they knew or their experience or what albums they had or they like this particular song. All those stories I love to know and hear. Um, and I'm from the Midwest, so I'm friendly. The fun here in New York is that people just speak to you on the street. It's really a great city that way, and that somebody will just say, "I love your coat," or "You look great," or positive words. They walk by you and say positive things to you. Isn't that kind of fun?
Well, you know better New Yorkers than friends of mine.
Well, the ones that walk by me and say that, although I don't know that there's any big negative things that have said to me. There's lots of good stories that I hear from people, and then people that know me, and they'll say, "You're Marilyn," or "Hi, Miss May," and they'll just keep right on going. That's valuable to me.
You have so many stories. Has there ever been a consideration about writing a book?
Yes, but I can't remember everything.
I think you remember a lot more than you let on. Otherwise, you
It
couldn't
would
do
it
these
would be
songs.
somebody would have to trigger me, and I don't know if there's anybody left old enough to remember anything about my career.
Billy probably knows more about your career than you do at this point because
I think that's
his
true.
mind is like a steel trap.
It is. There's no doubt about that.
How do you think your relationship with these songs that you perform from the Great American Songbook is influenced by the fact that you've been around long enough to remember when they were fresh and new, as opposed to somebody, if somebody were to record those songs today who's maybe 25, 30 years old, they don't have the same relationship with it. How do you think your relationship with these songs impacts the way you perform them?
But see, that's the very thing that I'm saying. I try to keep them fresh and new. I think that's the way. It's always a new. I try to convey that it's a new story. I don't get. Yeah, I don't think it's monotonous or it's something that I've done so many times that I'm bored with it. No, I'm not bored with any of the music that I sing. I love the Great American Songbook and believe in those lyrics and believe in the stories and believe that the positive stories are great for the people to hear. The sad stories are maybe they identify with it, and that's fine if they identify with it and live through it. And the basic thing that they can see if they're living through it, that they're sitting there at a table having a drink and having a good time. So they've lived through that.
Yes, and they're still here just like you're still here
Right.
because
There's
you do
good
a
times and
terrific.
bum times.
Exactly,
I sing
exactly.
along, my dear. I'm still here. Right.
Well, which leads me to my last question for you, Marilyn. I know that when you were 9 years old, you won a talent contest and you got a big prize of $3. Um, and that was in Topeka, Kansas.
Yes.
So if that 9-year-old girl was to be at Birdland for New Year's and watch you perform this year, what do you think she would have to say about everything you've done so far and all that's ahead of you?
I hope she would say, I want to do that.
That's
That's
perfect.
it.
That's absolutely perfect. Well, I wish I could say I was going to
I
be in
want to do what she's doing.
right. I wish I could say I was going to be in New York for New Year's Eve, but I know all the people who are gonna sell out all those shows are going to be in for a great way to end 2024 and start 2025.
Well, New Year's Eve is to me, it's a time about love. And so basically most of the show is a love story. And we hope positive, except that I know I'll get requests for Guess Who I Saw Today and 50%. I know that. Ted Firth will be with me, and Tom Hubbard, great bassist, and David, um, my drummer, and then on New Year's Eve, the other Ted Rosenthal, will be with me, and the same. So it'll be a great time. It's always a party, if you want to have a party around New Year's Eve, come to Birdland, to the precious theater that he created. I opened that theater some time ago, and I cherish that room. It's intimate and warm, and we'll have fun.